It's the 20th of January 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Flood warnings issued for Malvatuoya, Yannoya and Mahavali River. Public advised to stay alert. One day and over 16,000 affected across 5 provinces. Opening of spill gates of the Senanayaka Samudra causes banks of the Galloya to breach. Department of Meteorology forecasts a decrease in rainfall. Second wave of flood damage to Maha season crops. Will the anticipated harvest fall short? President emphasizes creation of diplomatic network while safeguarding sovereignty and independence.
ඉතාම සැලසුම් සහගත ආර්ථික ක්‍රියාවලියක අපි නිරත වෙමින් තිබෙනවා. අපි ඕනෑම රාජ්‍ය නායකයෙක් ඉස්සරහා ඕනෑම ලොකු සමාගමක් ඉස්සරහා අපිට කෙලින් හිටගෙන කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. එයි අපුව කිසියෙකුට සල්ලි වලට ගන්න බෑ.
Customs clearance delay. Minister Bimal criticizes lack of implementation of President's directives.
ජනාධිපතිතුමා දුන්න උපදෙස් අනුව ඒ අදාළ හැම කෙනෙක්ම ඒක කරන බව නම් පේන්නේ නැහැ. මම ඒක අවංකව කියන්න ඕන. පැය 24 වැඩ කරන්න කියලා කිව්වට රෑ 3:20ට සමහර ආංගනවල වැඩ නතර වෙනවා.
Donald Trump to be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. TikTok ban lifted.
And your top story this evening, due to the heavy rainfall, several reservoirs across the island have begun to overflow since this morning. The sluice gates of the Senanayaka Samudra in Inginiagala have been opened, releasing water into the Galloya. This has caused the river banks to breach, submerging several paddy fields in the surrounding areas. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology has announced that a reduction in rainfall is expected from tomorrow. Now, let's connect with Newsfirst's Juad Abdeen from the Newsfirst Weather Centre for more information on the upcoming weather conditions.
Now, during the past few days, Sri Lanka has been experiencing some heavy rainfall in the country. We've also experienced flash floods in parts of the island, and the general public has been urged to take precautions during this time period. Now, according to the latest forecast issued by the Met Department, the rainy condition in the country is expected to reduce in some extent in the northern, north central, eastern, and also the central province. Now, if you did take a look at the way the forecast in the past few days, we did see these green patches that you see on the screen around the island, which of course showed that there would be heavy rainfall. And now in the latest forecast, you see these patches moving away from the country along with the winds. At the same time, several spells of showers will occur in the northern, eastern, north, central and Uwa provinces, and also in the Matale, Nuwara and Hambantota districts. Now, along with this, fairly strong winds of 30 to 40 kilometers per hour is also expected at several parts of the island. And also a reminder on the landslide warnings that have been issued in 4 districts in the country, despite the rainy condition expected to reduce.
Landslide warnings remain in effect for 4 districts. The National Building Research Organisation announced that landslide warnings issued for several divisional secretariats in the Badulla, Kandy, Kurunegala and Matale districts remain in effect. Due to heavy rainfall, all schools in the Eastern Province were closed today. Governor of the Eastern Province, Jayantalal Ratnasiri, stated that the scheduled term exams will now be held on the upcoming Saturday. Additionally, all schools in the North Central Province were closed today. Meanwhile, the Disaster Management Centre reported that 16,930 individuals from 5,738 families have been affected by adverse weather conditions. The affected regions include the North Central, Northern, Eastern, Central and Uva provinces. According to the Disaster Management Centre, 1 person has died and 3 others have been injured due to the disasters. Furthermore, 239 individuals from 71 families have been relocated to 8 safe locations. The Malwatu Oya in the Tantrimale area remains at major flood level. The Mahaweli River in the Manampitiya area and the Yan Oya in Horopatana are experiencing minor flood levels. The Daduru Oya in the Moragakande area is at an alert level. Heavy rainfall has caused significant flooding, disrupting transportation along several roads across the Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa district. The overflowing of the Mahaweli River has led to the closure of the main road from Batiklo to Polonnaruwa, from Gallalla to Manampitiya. The police have advised the public to use alternative routes. Meanwhile, approximately 10 houses in the Suwaseta village of Tamankaduwa, Polonnaruwa are currently submerged. The main road from Somawathiya to Sungavila, leading to the historic Somawathiya sacred grounds, remains flooded, halting vehicular movement. The overflow of the Kala Oya has submerged the road from Galnava to Ipalogama near the Hadungama bridge. The Malwatu Oya's overflowing in the Kakirava, Behetlalivela area has flooded several low-lying areas. In Dambulla, only buses are allowed to travel on the Vavala-Kandalama road near the Spillgate area due to the continued overflowing of the Kandalama reservoir. Light vehicles are advised to use the route from Dambulla to Vavala via Araula. The main road from Kantale to Kinya is submerged in the Maniraskulam area. Heavy rainfall has also affected the Chenkaladi Divisional Secretariat, submerging villages 2, 3 and 4 in Sittandi. Displaced individuals are temporarily housed at the Vandaramulle Central College. The main road from Muttur to Kattai Parichan near the Ral Bridge has been obstructed for the 5th day. Roads and houses in the Palampataru village in Tambalagamu, Kantale are currently underwater. Transportation on the road from Bulnava to Siambalava has been disrupted due to an uprooted tree in the Mulannatuwa area. Landslides in the St. John area in Kandapula hindered transportation along the Nuwarelia-Udupusellava main road.
Due to adverse weather conditions, the impact on paddy cultivation during the Maha season is currently being assessed. This is according to the Director General of Agriculture, KNS Ranatunga. She noted that it is too early to provide a definitive estimate of the expected paddy yield for the Maha season under these circumstances.
Most of the paddy fields for the Maha season were either in the harvesting stage or close to it in recent days. However, heavy rainfall over the past few days has caused significant damage to many of these fields. Many paddy lands were submerged at the beginning of the season, and as a result, a large number of fields have been affected twice in the same season. Several districts have suffered the impact of this situation. With the opening of the sluice gates of the Senanayaka Samudra in Inginiagala, several areas have been flooded due to the overflow of the Galloya. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the riverbanks in the Nenakadu area of Samandarai have been breached. This location has been repaired 3 times previously. Thousands of acres of paddy fields in the area are currently submerged. Approximately 600 acres of paddy fields are submerged in Digavapia. These fields were close to being harvested when the damage occurred.
මහත්තයා මට නම් ඇත්තෙම කියන්න තියෙන්නේ මං කාන්තාවක් මගේ මිනිස්සෙක් නෑ. මම අක්කර 9ක්
I am a woman without a husband, managing 9 to 10 acres of paddy fields. It breaks my heart to see my fields flooded. I woke up at 4 a.m. with tears in my eyes. The crops I nurtured with so much effort after pawning my jewelry are now underwater. Last time, we had to stay at the temple and shops due to floods. The people of the Egawapia rely on paddy farming for their livelihood. Now, everything is submerged.
ඒ බන්ටක ඔක්කොම හුරගෙන කාලෙවිලා ඒව කඩාගෙන තමයි මේ වතුර ඇවිල්ලා මේ ඔක්කොම යට වෙන්නේ.
ගම් ඉවුරක් නැහැ නියරක් වගේ තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ නියරක් වගේ තියෙන එක පොඩි ගම් වතුරට කඩාගෙන ගිහිල්ලා මේ විනාශ වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
Hundreds of acres of paddy fields in the Mavadipalli area in Ampara are submerged due to the overflow of the Galloya River. The opening of the sluice gates of the Mahakanadharava Reservoir in Anuradhapura has caused flooding in the paddy fields cultivated under this project. In the Kakirava and Behetlalivela areas, approximately 150 acres of paddy fields are submerged due to the overflow of the Malvatu Oya. In the Ganaivalpula and Mahaman Kadavala areas of Kakirava, around 200 acres of paddy fields have been submerged for 3 days due to the overflow of the Malvatu Oya. Hundreds of acres of paddy fields in the Thammannagama area in Anuradhapura remain inundated as a result of the overflowing of the Kalankotia Oya. Approximately 200 acres of paddy fields in the Thambalagamuwa Muthunagar area are submerged due to the overflow of the Pattinipuram canal. The damage occurred while the crops were being harvested. In the Panduvasnuwara, Adukkane and Kanogama areas in Kurunagala, paddy fields have been damaged by heavy rainfall and strong winds. What is the Ministry of Agriculture's response?
Compensation for the affected farmers from the previous Maha season will be paid by February. The current damages are being assessed and compensation will be provided to the affected farmers in a manner that benefits them and is legally protected.
In several regions, the Maha season paddy cultivation has reached the harvesting stage. Many areas are expected to begin harvesting within a short period.
Meanwhile, there is an ongoing discussion regarding the procurement of paddy for this season. A meeting was held last night with small and medium-scale mill owners in the Ampara district to discuss the procurement process.
Meeting was held at the Ampara District Auditorium to discuss paddy procurement. The primary request from the mill owners was to prohibit the transportation of paddy stored in warehouses to other districts.
Please do not send the paddy currently in warehouses to other districts. If possible, issue a tender for the people in the Ampara district only. If not, distribute it to the mills as you did before. This way, we can keep the Ampara paddy here. If the transportation of paddy out of this district is prohibited and the local traders are given the opportunity to purchase it, this problem can be solved. Then, mill owners from other districts will not come here to take the paddy. We have already said that we will provide warehouses for storage. There are 41 storage facilities in Ampara and fill them with paddy. The government will not send any paddy from Ampara to Polonnaruwa or Hambantota. All the paddy will be given to the mill owners in Ampara. The government will not take any paddy out of Ampara. So, let's work together on this.
The National Agrarian Collective says that the guaranteed price per kilogram of paddy should be between 130 rupees to 140 rupees.
The fair guaranteed price for a kilogram of paddy should be between 130 rupees and 140 rupees. This is our fair guaranteed price. If we buy paddy at 130 to 140 rupees, the price of rice will not go up to 300, 400 or even 500 rupees per kilogram. Agricultural officials always create false fears and myths about this.
President Anukumara Dissanayaka has stated that the current government is working with the ambition of rebuilding the nation by establishing a robust network of international relations. Addressing supporters in Beruwala, the president emphasized that the government is committed to creating a diplomatic network that not only safeguards the country's sovereignty and independence, but also benefits the national economy.
A party meeting of the National People's Power was held last night, which was attended by President Anura Kumara Disanayaka.
We wanted to foster good relations with other nations because our nation is in a state of crisis. We need to maintain cordial relations with such nations if we are to progress. India is an influential nation situated close to us. It has a rapid economic growth. Therefore, we need to build a sustainable relationship with India. An Indian corporation had provided a loan to install a signalling system along the railway track from Mahava to Anuradhapura. Prime Minister Modi agreed to convert it into a grant in its entirety. Further, a large aid package was given to those in the eastern province, particularly to communities engaged in farming and animal husbandry. We are carrying out a meticulously planned economic process. Our aspiration is to design a network of strong bilateral relations with foreign nations and to develop the country through their support. We can stand proud in front of any state leader or major corporation. Why? Because we cannot be bought over by anyone. We are forming a strong network of foreign relations while preserving our sovereignty and independence in a way that benefits our people and economy. We raised the matter of the Kadawatha-Mirigama highway with the Chinese government. They agreed to appoint a committee to look into how construction work can commence. Currently, the two destinations are Ramukkana and Mirigama. Neither of them are final destinations. Large amounts of funds had been wasted on that highway. Either it should be connected to Kadawatha from one end or Kandy from the other. But currently there is just a portion of the road in the middle. Construction on the rest of the road will commence soon. There is a severe congestion at the airport, especially at night. It feels like Petta. This is our airport. It is a small airport. We expect large numbers of tourists without a plan to develop the airport. A Japanese corporation was constructing another terminal there, but it was abandoned. We are discussing with the Japanese ambassador to recommence work on the terminal soon. The digital ID. Currently, we use a physical card. One needs to refer to the card and then our face to identify us. That is a defunct method of identification. We will create a code for it to be online. All those projects are at a standstill. We are reinitiating them rapidly. The Indian government has extended a grant of 10 billion for it. Some say we are stealing biodata. Remember, those who are working on this are Sri Lankan experts on data science and IT. They have given us assurances on data protection. We trust them. Some have asked me, what will happen to thieves? Do not worry. We wanted to hand over the CID to the necessary officials and we did that. It took some time. But now their work has begun. Placing someone in remand custody after recording a statement does not suffice. We will institute legal action with strong cases. They must be convicted and jailed. The Attorney General's department wasn't filing cases. The files were being hidden. The medical report on Poddala Jayantha's assault was missing. Another is required now. That's how evidence has been misplaced. We will establish a strong set of officials, stabilize the system and file cases swiftly. Do not worry.
Why can't fuel prices be reduced? The president responded.
The price of diesel dropped below 300 rupees after a while, once we came to power. Till then it was above 300 rupees, but it cannot be reduced every month. There is a large tax on diesel. Some ask if it cannot be done away with. No. Why is that? The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is $3 billion in debt, which translates to 900 billion rupees. That debt had been absorbed by the Treasury. The CPC is no longer in debt, but it owes the Treasury 900 billion rupees. So, each litre sold has a tax which is used to service the debt. How can that be removed once that debt is paid off? If not, that debt would have to be paid through tax funds like VAT. We are now attempting to increase the payment period. If that happens, we can reduce the price of fuel. Plans are being drawn. Instead, we cannot absorb 900 billion and not tax fuel. Why is there a tax on fuel? Because the CPC was dragged into a debt trap. Assets were stolen, substandard fuel was imported, aids were given petrol sheds and so on. Either we close down the CPC or find a method to pay the debt. What we did was absorb the debt to the Treasury and tax the fuel that was sold.
What is the benefit of that? The IOC must also pay that tax. They are not indebted to us, but they should pay the tax. Is that not beneficial?
The president also expressed his views on expediting operations at the Colombo port.
Around
7.5 million containers are moved at the port annually, but only 15% of it enters the country. 85% are transshipments. The Colombo port is one of the most vital ports in terms of transshipments. We have plans to double the 7.5 million containers, but we cannot do that because the 15% cannot be taken into the country due to congestion. Governments were supposed to have long-term plans for such scenarios. So, what should happen? The 15% of the goods entering the country must be taken out of the port soon. For that to happen, we need good warehouses. Those don't exist. When goods are inspected in small warehouses, it creates a disruption. Then, vessels turn away. They have not been governing this country at all. We have discussed with the ADB to construct a new container yard in Kerawalapitia. It will provide easy access from the highway. That will resolve the congestion at the port. We have spoken to a local businessman who has agreed to clean up the garbage dump in Blue Mandal and construct another container yard there. We can establish both of those in another year or 1.5 years.
When the government purchases paddy, there must be mills to process it into rice. But do we have the necessary facilities in our country? Have we taken steps to protect the facilities we once had? Today, we explore the tragic state of a rice mill complex that was built with millions of public funds, but now lies abandoned and overgrown with weeds.
What happened to the village?
In the Iginiyagala area of Ampara lies the siloed rice mill complex, which has been abandoned and overgrown with weeds of nearly 50 years. Constructed during the era of Prime Minister Sirasa Bandaranaike in the 1970s with foreign aid, this rice mill complex spans approximately 10 acres. The storage complex consists of 26 silo tanks, including 12 large tanks, 8 medium tanks and 6 smaller tanks for storing paddy. The complex was equipped to handle paddy drying, milling and procurement. However, today, all the machinery is in a state of disrepair.
For 2 to 3 years, this warehouse was used for paddy drying and milling. But for the past 50 years, it has been deteriorating with no development of the machinery. This is a national crime. If the government cannot restore it, they should involve a private businessman to restart it.
හැකියාවක් නැත්නම් පෞද්ගලික ව්‍යාපාරිකයෙක් හෝ සම්බන්ධ කරගෙන මේක ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණය කරන්න. අපි මේ අලුත් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා අඩුම තරමින් වී මිලදී ගැනීම සඳහා හෝ මේ ගබඩාව.
We urge the new government to at least renovate this warehouse for paddy procurement. If they can start operations here, it will be a significant step towards addressing the rice shortage in the area.
මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ තියෙන මේ හාල් හිඟය මගහරවා ගැනීමට ලොකු පිටුවහලක් වෙයි කියලා.
Shouldn't these resources meant for the development of the country's people be properly managed? How ineffective are the officials and authorities who have failed to address this issue for decades?
What happened to the village?
Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be cut off from the world with no way to cross a river on a rainy day? In the remote village of Madhumana, nestled in the Nuwara region, this is the harsh reality for its resilient inhabitants.
This is how the people in the remote village of Madhumana in the Nuwara region go about their daily lives. The village belongs to Hanguranketa. Farming and livestock rearing are their main sources of livelihood. On rainy days, these villagers have no way to cross the river. They walk this path because they have no other choice. Even the crops they grow have to be sold at a loss.
ඉතින් අපි ගොවිතැන් තමයි කරන්නේ. ඉතින් අතරමැදියා තමයි මේකෙන් හම්බ කරන්නේ. පොහොත් ටික අපිට කාලට වෙලාවට ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ. වන සතුන්ගේ මුත් ඒ වගේ තමයි. ඒකට කියන මිලට දීලා එන්න ඕන. එළවලුරියක් නමුල්ලට යන්න රුපියල් 400ක් 450ක් වගේ වෙනවා මෙහි. ඉතින් එහෙම කරපුවාම ඉතින් අපිට අන්තිමට මිලක් නැති වුණාම කිසිම දෙයක් නැති. ඔය කැරට් රුපියල් 400 800යි 900යි කියන කොළම. මේ අපි ගලවලා අරන් ගියාම රුපියල් 100යි 150යි.
These people were met by the Gamada team as they went from door to door in the villages of the Kandy district.
Gamada, door to door.
Newsfirst with the people.
In more local news, the Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation, Bimal Ratnayaka, joined an inspection of the proposed site in Keravalapitia for a new container terminal today.
The minister's visit was prompted by discussions held at the President's intervention regarding the port congestion issue. The aim was to assess the progress made. The Deputy Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation, the Presidential Secretary and other officials from the Ministry of Ports were also present at the inspection.
Despite the President's instructions for all relevant institutions to work diligently, it seems that everyone isn't fully committed. I must be honest about this. Even though they were told to work 24 hours, some yards stop operations at 3:20 a.m. We told lorry drivers that we will clean and clear the land belonging to the Palyaguda Engineering Corporation, and we are now waiting for them to park their lorries there. However, they haven't come yet. They still have hundreds of lorries inside. Similarly, we expected the clerks from the shipping companies to come and clear those, but we haven't seen much cooperation from them. In fact, this is not solely the port's responsibility, because the port is like a family. Many others need to be involved in this.
Meanwhile, the minister said that they expect to complete the construction of the container terminal within 3 years.
The Sri Lanka Economic Summit by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce will take place on the 28th of January in Colombo. President Anukumara Dissanayake will grace the event as the chief guest.
The Sri Lanka Economic Summit, the premier annual economic event organised by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, will be inaugurated by President Anukumara Dissanayake on the 28th of January in Colombo. The theme for this year's summit is, quote-unquote, shaping Sri Lanka's future, transformational growth rooted in sound economic policies.
The World Bank said that developing economies, which fuel 60% of global growth, are projected to finish the first quarter of the 21st century with the weakest long-term growth outlook since the year 2000.
The World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospects report said that even as the global economy stabilizes in the next 2 years, developing economies are expected to make slower progress in catching up with the income levels of advanced economies. The global economy is projected to expand by 2.7% in both 2025 and 2026, the same pace as in 2024, as inflation and interest rates decline gradually. Growth in developing economies is also expected to hold steady at about 4% over the next 2 years. This, however, would be a weaker performance than before the pandemic and insufficient to foster the progress necessary to alleviate poverty and achieve wider development goals.
The wealth of the world's billionaires grew by $2 trillion in 2024, 3 times faster than in 2023, amounting to $5.7 billion a day. This was revealed by a report prepared by Oxfam, a global organization that fights inequality to end poverty and injustice.
Big news on Rihanna, the superstar singer and entrepreneur gaining a new title, billionaire.
The latest inequality report from Oxfam reveals that the world is now on track to have 5 trillionaires within a decade, a change from last year's forecast of 1 trillionaire within 10 years. The report, titled "Takers Not Makers," come as many of the world's political leaders corporate executives and the super rich travel to the Swiss ski resort of Davos for the annual World Economic Forum meeting from today. Oxfam's examination of billionaire assets also coincides with Donald Trump's inauguration as President of the United States. Trump is expected to include several billionaires in his team of close advisors, including the Tesla and SpaceX chief executive Elon Musk, and to offer large-scale tax breaks to the wealthiest US citizens. At the same time, the number of people living under the World Bank poverty line of $6.85 a day has barely changed since 1990 and is close to 3.6 billion, equivalent to 44% of the world's population today. Globally, the number of billionaires rose by 204 last year to 2,769. Their combined wealth jumped from 13 trillion US dollars to 15 trillion US dollars in just 12 months, the second largest annual increase since records began. The wealth of the world's 10 richest men grew on average by almost 100 million US dollars a day, and even if they lost 99% of their wealth overnight, they would remain billionaires.
During his first term as president, Donald Trump led the effort to ban TikTok, the hugely popular video sharing site that he said posed a threat to US national security. But on the eve of his return to the White House, the president-elect is being hailed as the app's savior.
And as of today, TikTok is back.
TikTok is back, baby.
What? TikTok back! Let's go! TikTok back!
Hey, TikTok back, man. They back? Hell yeah. How you know? They say Trump figured it out.
Hey, I quit. Motherfucker, I was about to work at Burger King. King back at they was about to be, look at the irony. Come on, man. They back for real? Let's do the renegade. TikTok is back! TikTok is back! Fuck yeah! What you gonna do when we come?
After going dark for users this weekend, Trump said on his social media site that he would issue an executive order after his sworn for a second term on Monday, delaying a TikTok ban, quote-unquote, so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. President-elect Donald Trump took credit for the return of TikTok to US users during his victory rally at the Capital One Arena.
And as of today, TikTok is back. So I like TikTok. I like it. I like it.
Trump's legal authority to unilaterally decide not to enforce the law, which passed with overwhelming bipartisan support in April and was upheld by the Supreme Court on Friday, is unclear. But the rapid developments over the weekend served as a reminder of how dramatically debates over technology, social media and national security have changed since Trump was last in the White House. TikTok said that it would be restoring service to US users after blocking it the evening before. In a statement, TikTok said its video platform was coming back online after President-elect Donald Trump provided the necessary assurances to the company's service providers. The law banning TikTok, which was scheduled to go into effect Sunday, allows the president to grant a 90-day extension before the ban is enforced, provided certain criteria are met. Under a law that President Joe Biden signed in April, TikTok would be banned unless its Chinese owner, ByteDance, sold the company to a non-Chinese buyer. Prior to the ban's implementation, both Biden and the incoming Trump administration appeared to reverse their earlier positions on TikTok. During his campaign, Trump, who had advocated for a ban during his first term as president, came out in support of TikTok, saying he would save it.
In more related news, Donald Trump will become the 47th President of the United States later today, marking an astonishing return to the White House for the businessman and former reality TV star. Today's inauguration comes after a tumultuous 4 years out of office that saw assassination attempts and several serious legal cases against the 78-year-old.
President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration ceremony will take place inside the Capitol Rotunda because of a frigid weather forecast in the nation's capital. The last time the ceremony was held indoors was Ronald Reagan's second inauguration, when it was only 7 degrees. The parade was also cancelled that year. In addition to the swearing-in ceremony, the presidential parade also move indoors. Under provisions of the 20th Amendment, the terms of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will officially end at 11 a.m. Central Time on the 20th of January, meaning that Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance will officially take office at the time, whether or not they've had their oaths of office administered. Country music star Carrie Underwood will perform, quote-unquote, America the Beautiful at Trump's inauguration. With endless perimeter fencing, all-seeing drones and some 25,000 security personnel, the U.S. Capitol is preparing for Donald Trump's presidential inauguration in an unprecedented protective posture after an election cycle marked by violence. Around 25,000 law enforcement and military personnel are converging on Washington. Although the inauguration ceremony for President-elect Donald Trump was moved into the highly fortified and secured U.S. Capitol because of forecasts calling for extreme cold, helicopters will still be a key tool as the inaugural parade also moves indoors to Capital One Arena in the heart of D.C. that will host about 20,000 people. D.C. police will also be watching for crowds, as many of those who would have gone to the National Mall are expected to still gather across the city. The helicopter's onboard cameras will read a license plate from 1,000 feet up, sending back a live video to the department's real-time crime center. Customarily, the president-elect visits the White House and goes with the outgoing president to the Capitol to publicly show a peaceful power transfer. Inauguration Day takes place every 4 years on the 20th of January following a presidential election. At the ceremony, the president-elect and vice president-elect are sworn into office and recite an oath, promising to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. For Trump's inauguration in 2025, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts will administer the presidential oath of office, during which Trump will raise his right hand and place his left hand on a Bible as he takes the oath for his second term. Justice Brett Kavanaugh will do the same for Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. After the president is sworn into office, they deliver an inaugural address to the public. The outgoing president and First Lady will then leave the Capitol in what's called an honorary departure. The official signing ceremony in the president's rooms takes place shortly after their departure, followed by a luncheon for the new administration. Former presidents, First Ladies and Vice Presidents usually attend each inauguration. That would mean that Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama and Joe Biden are expected to attend with their wives. However, it's been reported that Michelle Obama will skip the event. So far, heads of states have not attended any inaugurations. However, it has been reported that Trump has extended invitations to the presidents of China, El Salvador and Argentina, plus the prime ministers of Italy and Hungary. Argentina's president is said to have confirmed he would be the first foreign leader to ever attend a U.S. presidential inauguration. China will send their vice president instead of President Xi Jinping.
The launch of a book authored by former Sri Lankan cricket captain Lasith Malinga was held in Colombo today. The book is titled Killer. The launch was attended by several recognized figures, including the President of Sri Lanka Cricket, Shammi Silva, retired cricket players, fans, media personalities and other officials. Former Sri Lanka cricket captain Lasith Malinga has detailed some of the most memorable moments of his cricketing career in this book. A Sri Lankan-born medical professional recently emerged as the champion of Europe's biggest Scrabble tournament. Dr. Harshan Lamabadusuriya won the UK Open Scrabble Championships 2025, a 7-day event which was held in Reading South and was the first UK Open in 5 years.
Dr. Harshan Lamabadusuriya won the title of UK Open Scrabble champion, emerging victorious from 21 of his 27 games. Dr. Lamabadusuriya fended off stiff competition, showcasing his impressive vocabulary and strategic play. While in Sri Lanka, he was an old boy of Richmond College, Galle, St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia and Royal College, Colombo. He later attended the Steynen Grammar School in the United Kingdom. He started his medical studies in Cambridge University and went on to Oxford University, where he finished his clinical studies. Dr. Harshan Lamabadusuriya has represented the United Kingdom in international Scrabble competitions and became the national British Scrabble champion in 2003. In 2017, he finished second in the World Scrabble Championship, marking the pinnacle of his competitive accomplishments.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
International Edu Expo with EdLocate on the 1st and 2nd February. Call us to register.
Yesterday, Sri Lanka bid farewell to senior journalist Victor Ivan, a prominent figure in the fields of media, political analysis and communication. His funeral was conducted today at the Dadalla Public Cemetery in Galle.
Podiyatula of the 1971 rebellion. Born on the 26th of June 1949 in Galle, Victor Ivan is undeniably considered a pioneer in introducing investigative journalism to Sri Lankan print media. He received his education at Aloysius College, Galle and St. Anthony's College, Katugastota. As a young man, he was imbued with revolutionary ideas and contributed to the 1971 rebellion under the alias Podiyatula. Later, he entered the media field and served as the chief editor of the Ravaya newspaper, fearlessly advocating for social justice. A political critic, social analyst and author, Victor Ivan was a revolutionary who often clashed with the established norms in social, economic, political and cultural spheres. Victor Ivan authored many books including Ada Govithane Abhiyoga, Hatta Eke Karalla, Demala Abhiyogaya, Arbudaye Gamanmaga, ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ නූතන කැරලිකරුවන්ගේ සමාජ පසුබිම, ප්‍රචණ්ඩත්වය, අවිහිංසාව හා විප්ලවය, නොනිමි අර්ගලය, ප්‍රභාකරන් පරාජය කිරීම, දේශපාලනයේ පවුල හා කුලය, ජීවිතයේ ප්‍රබෝධය and මරණයේ අසිරිය.
The rulers of the country, all rulers, are openly engaged in looting what is under their charge. I think that even those who were involved in the rebellion and held very radical views did not contribute much to changing this situation.
The 75-year-old father of three passed away last afternoon while receiving treatment at the Karapitiya hospital. His mortal remains were placed at a private funeral parlour in Karapitiya, which saw a large outpouring of people representing diverse fields attending to pay their last respects. In accordance with his last wishes, the funeral of this distinguished journalist, whose dedication to Sri Lankan media is etched in gold, was held today at the Dadalla Public Cemetery in Galle. In celebration of the Chinese New Year, a special event took place in Colombo. The ceremony to mark the Chinese New Year festival was held in Colombo and was attended by Prime Minister Harini Amrasuriya. The celebration was also attended by former President Maithripala Sirisena, former Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and other political dignitaries. Chinese Ambassador to Sri Lanka Kee Zen Hong, as well as a large gathering of Sri Lankans and Chinese nationals, were present at the occasion.
Sri Lanka and China have shared a rich and vibrant history of friendship rooted in centuries of cultural exchange, trade, and mutual respect. Our two nations are bound by a partnership that continues to grow stronger. The successful state visit of His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka to China, which concluded just 2 days ago and which took place from the 14th to the 17th of January, marked an important milestone in this relationship. China has been a steadfast partner in Sri Lanka's development journey, supporting us in times of need and standing by us in our efforts to achieve economic stability and prosperity. Beyond this, cultural exchanges, such as today's celebration, reflect the warmth and depth of our people-to-people ties. May this year bring prosperity, harmony, and success to all, and may the friendship between the people of Sri Lanka and People's Republic of China continue to flourish.
A special arts delegation from China also arrived in Sri Lanka as part of the New Year celebrations.
Happy Chinese New Year is a global culture initiative launched by China's Ministry of Culture and Tourism for over a decade. It has been held in more than 100 countries and regions. China and Sri Lanka are not only good brothers, but also steadfast partners with a friendship spanning over 2,000 years, built on mutual respect and support. Our solid relationship has withstood the test of time and the international situation changes. His Excellency President Dissanayak's successful visit to China this week, during which he met with Chinese President His Excellency Xi Jinping, marked another important milestone in our bilateral relations. The visit achieved fruitful results and opened new chapters in various fields of cooperation between two countries. Culture exchanges play a vital role in deepening the bonds between our two nations and have become a new highlight of our bilateral relationship.
A documentary named The Buddha of the Rock was unveiled in Colombo.
The Buddha of the Rock is a film that chronicles the creation of the world's tallest seated Buddha statue at the Rambadigala Monaragala Vihara, a monument that stands as a testament to Sri Lanka's spiritual legacy. The documentary was unveiled by the Iswaran brothers family together with the Rambadigala Monaragala Vihara. The event was attended by the members of the Mahasangha, Deputy High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, and other dignitaries.
As documentary mentioned, that there was a time when the religion was driven by the kings and the kingdoms. This sculpture, however, is driven by the belief and the deep philosophical underpinnings of the people of Sri Lanka, of not just Buddhist, but all the people of Sri Lanka who believe in its philosophical, civilizational, and religious underpinnings. And therein, we from India, we are connected to you. We from India, we are with you, we are you.
Through dedication, friendship, and faith, this extraordinary symbol of reverence was brought to life and continues to inspire countless hearts and minds.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good
night.
night.